Cal Prep Report. My name's Randy Rosenblum, and my co-host is with me again tonight, Tarek Fatal. I have a lot of things to talk about. The hot topic is going to be volleyball. We have great guests on. Mike Boehle, the head coach at Loyola. They're number one. They're right in the middle of their playoffs. He's got his great outside hitter, 6'7" Sean Kelly. He's going to play for UCLA down the road. We also have Sina Aghassy from Chatsworth High School. They won their Open Division volleyball match. They're into the semifinals in the city section. Again, they're ranked number one. They're going to play Palisades this weekend. But Tark, we got to start. Quick note on baseball. Hearts' Jim Ozell has coached 25 years. He's retiring. He had his game today in the opening round of the playoffs. If he loses, he's out. He was trailing in the last inning. They tied it. He was trailing in extra innings. They tied it. He got to the 14th inning. Hart wins at 5-4. Jim Ozella is still alive.
Yeah, one more game to coach, as I'm sure every coach will one day relate. You just want to coach one more game, and why not? Absolute knee buckler, right? He got the game at home, and Simi Valley almost took it away from him, but he's able to coach at least one more game.
You're right. It was the Pioneers of Simi Valley that gave him a tough tussle in D2. I mean, we'll get to baseball a little bit later. Let's talk about some of these volleyball scores. These are the top teams in the southern section. Miracosta got a victory. That was 3-1 over Edison. This is pool play matches, so it's somewhat confusing. And when Mike Boehle's on, maybe he can explain it all to us. They're going to play a very good Corona Del Mar team. Corona Del Mar plays Miracosta. There's the Corona Del Mar score, 3-1 over Tesoro.
Yeah, I mean, these are, listen, I've spoken with Mike Boehle this year. We actually had him on the CIF Southern Section sit down, and there's no better hotbed of boys volleyball than in Southern California. Right. These guys play year-round. They get up and down, and every match is high intensity with high athleticism. So it's not surprising to see Corona Del Mar come out with the win, but I know that every game is very, very competitive.
Yeah, and these are the second matches in their pool play. There's three teams they play. So Huntington Beach 3-1 over Newport Harbor. Then Loyola over Mater Dei 3-0. Not a surprise. Again, Loyola's ranked number one. Very impressive performance. And again, Loyola, Newport Harbor on Saturday.
Yeah, you know, like, again, Loyola taking care of business. I know they had a tough first round Open Division pool play match, and we'll talk about that a little bit with Coach. But, you know, hey, how about bouncing back with a no-doubter in a 3-0 sweep of Mater Dei? Yeah,
that first match was difficult against a very good Huntington Beach team that went 5 sets. Let's bring on the coach, Mike Boehle, and his fine outside hitter, Sean Kelly. Coach, first and foremost, I want to congratulate you individually. You're going to go into the Southern California Indoor Volleyball Hall of Fame this Sunday night. Congratulations. Officially, you're going to be a Hall of Famer in a very strong Hall of Fame. You're in there with Karch Karai and all the others. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Randy and Tark. Yeah, it means a lot, and I was shocked when I got the call in May. But just so delighted and honored to be recognized by some of my peers and to go in with some of the people that have already been in is a huge thrill. So thank you both very much for that.
Yeah, and when I say Karch Karai, it's not just Karch Karai. It's the greatest volleyball players probably of all time. They almost all come from Southern California. And maybe someday Sean Kelly will be in the Hall of Fame as well. He's going to UCLA. Sean, what makes Mike Boehle a Hall of Fame coach?
He's a Hall of Fame coach just because he brings the best out of everyone every single day. Like every practice, every game, Coach Boehle expects the best out of us and gets the best out of everyone on the court.
Coach, going into this Open Division pool play, what's so different for the viewers? Generally in high school, traditionally, it's a winner-go-home situation every night. But in pool play, you're guaranteed at least 3 games. From your perspective, what's the different approach there other than we got to come in and win the game, of course?
Well, I think it depends on where you're seated. You know, the top 2 seeds are home all the way through. And then the second seeds in each pool are the 3 and the 4 seed overall. So that's a huge advantage, to be able to have home court advantage. That's the number one thing. Number 2, it can get a little tricky depending on how many, for instance, this year, there's 5 teams that can certainly win the CIF Division I final outright. So one pool might be a little different than the other. It might be just because of the way it plays out from the leagues. You know, for instance, the Surf League is the best volleyball league in Southern California with CDM, Newport, Huntington Beach, and Edison. So we knew going in as the 1 seed that we were going to get the 4 and the 5, and based on their league finish and how it all played out, we got stuck with Newport and Huntington. So it just year to year is different. We were the number 1 seed last year and lost to CDM in the semis. Again, having the home court advantage, just fell a little bit short, but redeemed ourselves in the state regional. But I like the 3 games. We have not had to go into the tiebreaker situation yet, so I am okay with the 3-game play as long as it goes in Loyola's favor.
And it usually does. Sean Kelly, I want to talk to you about playing in the 5th set. You went 5 with Huntington Beach. You had 8 kills, fueling the victory. You had 24 kills in the match, so congratulations on the total. But more importantly, 8 of them came in the final set. What's the mentality, and what was the mentality when you performed against Huntington Beach when you get to a 5th set? Is it, I'm calling for the ball, guys, get me the ball on every attempt?
Well, in the 5th set, we got to make sure that we're always playing together as a team, because in the 5th set, everyone, including myself, is super tired. So playing together is really, really important for getting through that last set, trying to beat the team. But personally, I tried to do everything I could, try to get as many kills as I could on any attempt in the 5th and the entire game.
Sean, talk about your leadership this year. I know you've been a marquee player nationally and all that stuff for years, but now you're a senior. Where has your leadership elevated, let's say, from your junior season to this season, now that you are a senior?
I'd say this year, I think I have a little more experience just playing the past 3 years. I kind of know. I try to see what helps certain players and what doesn't. And I think this year I feel like I've helped get everyone on the team better, including myself. They're just trying to tell everyone to play together. I think that's one of the most important things I've been trying to preach.
Mike, I don't want to embarrass Sean. We know he's a great player, but where does he rank in your mind in the annals of Loyola, his greatness? Where is he on that list? We always talk about GOATs nowadays. Where is he in the GOAT list at Loyola?
Well, we've been very fortunate to have some great players come out of Loyola High School during my tenure and even before that. I personally think during my tenure, Sean Kelly will be the best player to ever come out of Loyola High School. And it's not just his volleyball savvy, it's his humbleness, it's who he is as a person, it's his men for others attitude. You're not going to find a better person than Sean Kelly, and what he's done in the sport of volleyball is pretty incredible. Even outside Loyola, representing the USA teams, being awarded a bunch of different accolades for his volleyball play. He's just a incredible person inside and out, as well as a great volleyball player. I've been very lucky to have him part of this program. So, he's going to be the best player to ever come out of Loyola High School.
Sean, okay, I have a 2-part question. First of all, I have to ask you, what is it like to hear Coach say that about you? Let's start there, and then I got one more follow-up.
I mean, hearing that is like the best thing ever. There's been so many amazing players at Loyola, and I would not put myself at the top, but I think that is the kindest thing he could say, and I really appreciate it.
My last one's a little bit lighter. When it so happens, everyone knows when you're facing the opponent, they know Sean Kelly, the big hitter coming out, going to UCLA, so on and so forth. You're going to get everyone's best shot when you maybe get blocked or you hit one OB out of bounds, and everyone gets fired up about seeing you basically fail in moments during a game. How is it you respond to that? Because big-time players, people want to see them fail. And so it seems to me that when you're at the top, people want to see you fail. How do you respond to that?
I try to respond to it by just disappointing them the next play and not letting them do the same thing. Just trying to make them fail back, because I feel like if I make them fail more than they make me fail, we have a better chance to win.
Okay.
I'd like to chime in on that if I could.
Sure.
We had an incident last match actually where we had a call not go our way, and Sean as a captain, went to the referee and questioned the call and turned around and said something that I won't be able to say, but to himself, and it was heard loud enough that referee gave him a card, and the crowd went berserk and started chanting angry, angry, and we were down 15-9, and I called a timeout, and I pulled him aside, and I said, first of all, that's not going to happen again. And second of all, you've got one or two ways this can go. You're either going to let them get to you, and things are going to start to go south very quickly, or you're going to use this as some motivation for you to get back there and get playing the way you need to be playing. And he came out and was serving the ball, and he served, I think it was seven, I think it was 7 straight points, 5 of them aces, which got us back into the game and a lead. And that's just the type of player that he is. So we actually just went through that a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mike, thanks for the story. Congratulations on going to the Hall of Fame this weekend. I'll see you on Sunday at the event. Sean Kelly, seemed like a great guy. Best of luck the rest of the way, trying to win a championship. Maybe you'll get the CIF title this year and the regional crown as well. You guys are well deserving. You have a tremendous program, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you both very much.
Okay. Again,
Don, get to bed. We have practice tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to be ready. Not going to be easy on this weekend. They're a tremendous tandem, coach and player, in a wonderful program.
Well, I think, I felt like I had to ask him that question because when I think of covering athletes, high school, college, pro, everyone wants the fans, the cheering section, even the opposing players. There are moments you want to see the best guy on the other team miss a shot, fail, have an error, and you try and feed on that. And I think the best ones know how to really just shrug that off. So kudos to Sean Kelly for being able to channel that into better play.
All right, let's turn our attention to city volleyball. Chatsworth is the top seed. The top 4 seeds are Chatsworth, Eagle Rock, El Camino Real, there they are in Granada Hills, and 3 of the 4 won. Chatsworth got a victory on the top seed. The top 3 actually won. Granada Hills was knocked off by Palisades. So those 3 on top are moving into the semifinals, along with Palisades. No surprise there. And we're going to bring Sina Aghassy on to talk about his team's chances. They beat Pally in the finals last year. Now they're going to have to meet him in the semifinals. Sina, again, congratulations on your opening round match, the victory over Marshall High School. You didn't get an easy draw here. You got a young team. Palisades, a great win over Granada Hills. You have a difficult semifinal match, don't you?
Well, when you're playing at this level in the open division, they're all going to be tough rodeo fights. And, obviously we're geared up just for some great volleyball in the city section. And, every year's different. Young squad this year, but we're ready for a challenge and, a great Palisades team on the other side of the net.
Well, Sina, talk about your team. We saw you win a championship last year over Palisades. That was to be expected. This team is number 1, but it's younger. Are you surprised with their development and where they are at this stage in the year and being number 1 at such a young age?
Yeah, well, you look at every season and you see what, adversity faces in front. We lost some just phenomenal players and seniors last year, like Boehle, who's now at George Mason, who you covered. And, we've got a couple sophomores, freshmen that are trying to step in some big places. But I think that's what makes it fun. Guys have to mature. I think that's my favorite part of just watching this game at the high school level is the level of growth that happens in the short amount of time. And where we were, a couple months ago, I wouldn't think that we would be at the level of maturity that we're at right now. But you want to just continue to play your best volleyball in this month and try to ride that wave as you go into the playoffs.
Sina, what is so different other than the youth? You lose Boehle, who was a great player. Talk a little bit about what's so different about this team. Maybe you're, obviously you got a best player, or maybe you're doing it by committee. What's so different about this year's team?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got returners that have stepped up in their place, starting with our senior middle blocker, Justin Dixon. He was phenomenal last year, and he's just kind of carried that growth into this year, along with our senior setter, Nate Kim, both of which played big roles last year, but now they are at the forefront of the offense and what we're doing. Then you got guys like Chase Dunn, freshmen like Kevin Rabaha, who's a libero who there's not many that have done things that he's done at his age or this level. And, it's fun to see that youth and leadership kind of come together. It's a balanced attack. It's a fun attack to watch when it's on and racing. And, I'm excited to see them play in this next round.
I want to talk about Eagle Rock. I know they're the number 2 seed, you're the number 1 seed, and I know you're not looking that far in advance. You hope to meet them in the championship. Why are they number 2, and why are they such a threat in this tournament?
Well, I mean, it all starts with their big fella, Tom Altukiang, and he is probably the most physical guy in the whole city section. Last year, obviously, they had a talented team. He was a junior. They are, obviously got a good supporting cast with their setter. And they play with heart. They play hard. Coach Tim Bergeron did a great job for many years establishing that program. Michelle Hancock has kind of carried that torch into, this last 2 years. And I think they're just highly motivated and a dangerous team in the playoffs to see.
Sina, my last question for you is about the youth of your team. As you grow throughout the year, look, a freshman at this point of the year, really not a freshman anymore. Probably got enough games under his belt to basically call him a sophomore. But when you get into that postseason, what's the best thing you can do as a coach to bridge the gap between a young player and having that young player ready for a big postseason match that you're about to play in?
Yeah, I mean, I think with anything, it's just rhythm, routine, just trying to develop healthy habits for them to feel confident going into any big stage. And I think, that's just the hardest thing to do, whether it's professional, college sports even. And for those kids to develop that routine, to develop that confidence, I mean, I think that's everything. And I think that's the beauty of the growth that you see within the year. A freshman could look a lot older than he actually is just by his poise and maturity. And, I think our young guys have done a phenomenal job of that. Grant Chang, Beauregard, sophomores. And, obviously that's where they earn their stripes. And, these playoff matches are just the beauty of high school sports and what we love about it.
I want to ask you about Armin Mercado. You played for him at Taft. You were a setter. He's got to be a role model. He's been a great, great coach at Taft for a long time. Obviously, you learned a lot there. You've won city championships, 6 of them between the girls and the boys. You're trying to repeat on the boys' side. What does Armin Mercado mean to you?
He's this mythical legend that's spoke about in many areas, just with his poise, with his experience, and his Zen-like coaching, where he just gets the best out of his players. I mean, Sean Kelly talked about it with Mike Boehle, another legend. The best coaches tend to get the most out of their players, and I'd like to think Armin just squeezes every last he can, and he's not even a great coach to his players, but even different coaches in the city, just in mentoring and advocating for our sport in our section and just everything volleyball related. And I think that's what makes him special, and continues to be a mentor and a great friend to me. And I'll value that friendship and mentorship forever.
And you get to coach against him all the time since he's at Taft, and you get to play against him and your alma mater. Sina, good luck in the tournament. I know it's not going to be easy against Pally this week, but you got a great chance, and you're playing at home. So good luck in that one.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everything you do for high school sports.
All right. I mean, we talked to the who's who in the different sections here in the CIF Southern section with Loyola and Chatsworth on the boys' side in the city section. Those are the teams right now that are favored to win the tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we just talked to potentially the 2 future champions of each of their section in the highest division. So these are coaches that know what they're doing. They know how to develop players, and they have very, very respectable programs.
That was great, but you know what you've been waiting for? Everybody's been waiting for this. Tark's final top 10 in baseball, SB Live's top 10. This is the list. And we even put the records on because the regular season is over.
Correct.
This is the final list.
This is
there it is. Give us your rundown.
Let's see. Yeah, no, Arlington won their game today. Westlake won their game today. So everyone's still alive. Now, the evens played today, 2, 4, 6, and 8. And divisions 1, 3, 5, and 7 will play tomorrow. And that's when most of these teams will be in action. Most of these teams are in Division 1. So, yep, everyone's still alive. I haven't jinxed anybody yet. No upsets. And, yeah, Corona is the #1 team. I think they were #1 all year long except for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. They went down to 2 for like a hot second and right back up to 1.
But there's a team that's not in that top 10. That's J. Sarah. They lost 3 straight games last week. Now, they're still in the tournament. They're going to play tomorrow at Bonita, so they're still alive. But they lost 3 in a row to Servite. 4-1, I got the scores right here, 8-4, and 9-2. How shocking was that?
It was shocking. I was a little surprised. You know, that's not necessarily something Brett Kay is known for, losing 3 games in a row, let alone to Servite, which is, you know, a formidable team, but not a top Elk Trinity League team. I think you'd even agree with that, Randy. So, yeah, a little different to see them lose 3 straight before the postseason. That tells me maybe they're losing some focus before, obviously, the most important time of the year. But let's not forget, J. Sarah has been in the Division I finals 3 straight years, and they've won 2 of those 3. So why not catch a little fire at the right time? However, losing 3 straight before the playoffs isn't necessarily a good indicator of that.
And again, Servite's okay, but it is alarming. They're not one of the top teams
Correct.
in the Trinity League. It is alarming. We'll see if Brett Kay can get that turned around. All right, here are our top seeds, and Dark alluded to Corona, who's been great all year. They're the #1 seed. Harvard Westlake, you have them rated below Orange Lutheran.
And I have a reason.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Orange Lou is 3, and Santa Margarita is 4. Obviously, Trinity League schools, 3 of the 4 spots. Corona is the one that's not from the Trinity League. But in the poll, Orange Lutheran is above Harvard
Correct, is the
Westlake.
2.
In the seeding, it's reversed.
So, yeah, so Olu got the 3 and Harvard Westlake got the 2. In my rankings, I have Olu as the 2 and Harvard Westlake as a 3. To me, the simple fact is the Trinity League is the better league this year, and they won the Trinity League. So to me, I think there was even some head-to-head in there, and that could justify why the playoff seedings are a little different, and that's fair too. But to me, when you look at the body of work, the Trinity League was a more difficult league. Orange Lutheran won that league. They are the 2 in my eyes. Harvard Westlake was the 3 in my final rankings.
There were a couple D1 games today. One of them was Orange
Correct.
Lutheran, and they had to play Sierra Canyon. Wasn't an easy game. Now, the final score was 6-0, but they blew it open late. This was 1-0 going in deep into the game.
Yes, I believe, I want to say today I looked at the line score. All 6 runs came in the 6th inning. So it was 0-0 for a long time. Tom Musborn, obviously the coach at Sierra Canyon. I think Orange Lutheran coach Eric Borba was pretty upset about the drawing. He didn't like the fact that Orange Lutheran had to host a well-coached Tom Musborn team. He didn't like that draw, but the Lancers ended up surviving.
And here's the other game. You can see the reason they're playing on Thursday. Usually they're playing on Fridays.
Correct.
Because of field availability. Villa Park easily over Bishop Ammont. Now, the games tomorrow, let's go through some of these games. We have El Dorado at Corona. That's an interesting game. That's the first game we want to talk about, El Dorado at Corona.
Right, and I don't know if it's necessarily a matchup, but it's just more so an idea of thinking, okay, here's Corona's first game into the postseason. Right. They should breeze right through. There's almost some pressure there. Well, there is pressure. They're the #1 seed, and everyone's expecting them to win the whole thing. So I expect that game to actually be a little bit tighter than people might think because El Dorado is a quality team, and I just think there'll be a little bit of first-round jitters there.
Huntington Beach has got a game as well. They're going to play Corona Santiago. Again, the higher seeds are hosting, so that'll be their home game. We have West Ranch at San Dimas. Where's the Huntington Beach matchup? West Ranch, San Dimas. Narco and Harvard Westlake, and J. Sarah, as I mentioned earlier, against Bonita. Some great games tomorrow.
Sure. Again, I've witnessed a team like Harvard Westlake get bounced in the first round. This is probably like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years ago. Valencia from the Foothill League had to win a play-in game, then came to Harvard Westlake and beat them in the first round. In baseball, all it takes is one guy from the bump, man, to feel it. And next thing you know, you're winning a 2-1 ball game or a 1-0 ball game. Baseball, as we all know, at every level is, a roll of the dice, and we will see that here in the Division I playoffs.
City baseball tournament's still a couple of weeks away. They're still going in their leagues. Birmingham's now apparently going to win the West Valley League, but Birmingham got upset today by Chatsworth. They had 2-game lead over Granada Hills in the final week and a half, and they have to play Granada Hills next week.
Yeah, it was a shocking result, and I don't know why. We'd have to talk with Matt Mowry about it, but I wonder if there is some superstition there, and you know where I'm going with this. Despite all the city championships Birmingham has won, 5 in the last, whatever it is, 8 years, 10 years, something like that, none of them have come with a league championship. So I just kind of wonder if maybe Matt Mowry is throwing these games or something. I don't know.
Or he just doesn't care as much. But his teams are really prepared when it comes to playoff time.
Correct.
That's all that really matters. In fact, at one point they won 3 in a row. Softball, I'm just going to quickly mention the seeds. Olu's 1, Pacifica of Garden Grove is 2, Norco is 3, Murrieta Mesa 4. Now let's turn our attention to football briefly, because Campbell Hall in the San Fernando Valley dropped football. They were 1-8 last year. They have a great coach in Dennis Keys. He's been there 10 seasons.
The year before they were 9-3, and the year before that they were 10-1. So you're talking about winning 19 games in 2 seasons and only losing 4 games. And then, yes, last year was a little rough. When I spoke to Dennis Keys on the phone, he was disappointed. I believe their whole offensive line was freshmen and sophomores with maybe like 1 senior. So they were young up front. That's going to happen in high school football when you're young up front. You're not going to win a lot of games, but the numbers were rough, and that's where things can get unsafe and get hard to keep a program afloat. I believe, according to the athletic director, they had 21 kids on the roster, and you just never know how many you're going to have the following year. So they had decided to cut the program.
I do remember, and the reason they did cut the program at Campbell Hall is because they didn't have enough bodies. I do remember at Grant High School, they played throughout a season with 17 or 18 kids, and they started the season with about 20, but they got down to 17 or 18, and they went through the whole season. They elected to play. But I don't know, they were fortunate they didn't have any injuries at the end of the year. That's not a lot of bodies, so it's understandable why they would give it up. I do want to talk about Palisades tennis. Bud Kling's been there. He's coached the boys team since 1979. They just won the city title for the 15th consecutive year. That's 31 boys titles for him. He started with the boys in 79. He worked with the girls since 85. He has another 21 championships with the ladies. That's a total of 52. That's 52 titles for Bud Kling in tennis. He's still going all the way back to the 70s, and he's still winning championship. 15 in a row,
well, that's so many city plaques, he could probably just put them all together and maybe a whole room of wall, like just city plaques of a whole room. That is quite impressive. We said a little off the air, Palisades is a very affluent area. It's not surprising that they're winning these so quote unquote country club sports. That's just the truth. However, in my opinion, that record is more impressive because of the longevity of it. Just the fact that he's been around that long and he's still going at it, that's impressive.
15 straight boys championships. In the final minute, I do want to mention Romel Lloyd. We saw him at Sierra Canyon. Good kid, went off to Nebraska to play basketball. I don't know what happened. He left Nebraska. He's going to play for Long Beach State.
Sure. His father, Rock Lloyd, played at Long Beach State and was a pretty good player, so it's kind of a coming home for Romel Lloyd Jr.
We've got a photo up here that I'm looking at. I'm not sure what it is.
It looks like Tom Simmons there with Commissioner Mike West and a couple other people. It looks like
it's the academic decathlon. El Camino Royale won the national championship. I don't know why the banners are at the CIF Southern section.
This is clearly Southern section.
But El Camino Royale won his second national championship back-to-back.
Okay, well, I don't know if they'll get it looks like this is at Angel Stadium, so I don't know if the city's going to be able to honor their academic decathlon at Dodger Stadium, maybe, but looks like academic teams from all different sports getting honored here. A good moment for the Southern section, at Angel Stadium, and just a shame what's happening with Mike Trout.
Yeah, but he's a smart kid. Again, that was great. Great video, Larry. I really appreciate it. It kind of ties into El Camino Royale winning a back-to-back national championship.
Stop trying to tie that in.
I'm trying hard.
Yeah,
Show's over, though.
You are.
Yeah, we're going to have to say goodbye. Tarek, we'll talk next week.
What a great, just clean show we just had.
I don't know about that. It had its moments. For Tarek, I'm Randy. We'll argue about something next week. Right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody. I didn't know what it was.
I'm just glad getting to have a little food. Right?
Oh, it's great.
Orange chicken,
Chinese
chow
is the
mein,
best.
fried rice.
Gideon's the best.
Best part of the night.
I love that guy.